computer. Hello, and welcome to Trustworthy AI, de-risk business adoption of AI. I'm Pamela Gupta. I'm an award-winning AI cybersecurity and governance expert, also founder of Trusted AI, which is a trustworthy AI advisory firm. I host these podcasts to bring guidance and strategies on identifying risks that can be addressed or mitigated by adopting a holistic, risk-based, trustworthy AI approach. Today's topic is Agentic AI, security and trustworthiness. Agentic AI refers, just for a quick level set, Agentic AI refers to advanced AI systems that are capable of autonomously taking actions and adapting in real time and solving multi-step problems. These problems can be based on context and objectives and hence the actions as well. Agentic AI, as we know, is redefining workforce requirements and reinventing how we do business. In the last couple of days, we've heard about ChatGPT's latest OpenAI's latest agents that have come out, and the impact on knowledge workers is something that we really have to be very cognizant and watch out for. It's an immense impact. So clearly, this is not a fad, right? This is a direction we are proceeding in. And not only is agentic AI automating and taking a lot of the knowledge work as well as the digital work, it is also straddling into robotics and into the physical world. For example, agentic AI is enabling humanoid robots to perform increasingly complex tasks autonomously and moving beyond pre-programmed actions to adaptive, intelligent behavior. So, what does all this mean when it comes to the risks and security around agentic AI? We are quickly moving into an area where we are charting unprecedented waters, and that is not just in terms of opportunity, but also in terms of risk. So today I'm really happy to have this conversation with a esteemed guest, Ken Huang, who is CEO of DistributedApps.ai. In fact, Ken just wrote a book, just published a book, which is available on Amazon and other media platforms. It is on this very topic of agentic AI. And the name of the book is Agentic AI Theories and Practices. I will put a link to the book. Would highly encourage you to take a look at that. And the reason I think this is extremely a timely publishing of this book is it talks about the rise and transformative impact of generative AI agents or agentic AI across industries, offering quite a comprehensive exploration of their development and application. So there are books, Ken has case studies from banking, insurance, healthcare, cybersecurity, and others showcasing how autonomous agents are automating tasks and driving innovation. It also goes in depth in analysis of agentic AI in emerging fields like gene editing, robotics, and business process automation. Very thrilled to welcome you. How are you doing, Ken?
Very good. Thank you, Pam.
Yeah, did I miss anything? Would you like to add anything to your intro or about the book?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a very kind introduction. Yeah, in addition to consulting and training, I also have a leadership role at the OWASP and Cloud Security Alliance, developing some of the security standards or open source documents.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of OWASP. and have been talking to a lot of very good guidance producing folks coming out of OAS. So let's talk about a couple of concepts and areas that we really need to be cognizant of when it comes to agentic AI. I'd like to start off with, what do you see as the new face of vulnerability management when it comes to agentic AI?
Yeah. So vulnerability management is really key to the risk management, like Pam, you mentioned. Because you certainly, when you deploy agentic AI systems, there will be a lot of vulnerabilities. There's a lot of attack surface people did not realize. And how do you actually measure it, right? The NIST has like AI framework, say map, measure, manage, and govern.
Mm.
Map is important. I have the Maestro framework, which you can do the mapping, like to do the threat modeling. We can dive deep later, maybe. And then the measure is really how do you measure all these vulnerabilities. Um, we basically have a open source project with OWASP called the AI Vulnerability Scoring System. So it's aivss.owasp.org. Many industry experts from cybersecurity, from the AI, and from banks, pharmaceutical, and other industries, they join force. So we will have a document coming soon about how we, basically the initial approach, how we leverage CVSS score to measure, but given the agentic AI risk factor, right, to measure it. So it's the new phase is really we still need to measure the risk for agentic AI, and we need the thinking about our new way in terms of what you actually, Pamela, you described at the very beginning in terms of agent, which has autonomy, it can adapt to some context and also its own action to do some multiple step uh, tasking, right? So all this is additional threat because it's based on model. The model is non-deterministic, and it have the impact to the security. Like if it's if you want to have access just for read only, and it basically let you write because of hallucination, and
Mhm.
if you system is not secure, right? So it could potentially write to your database with some maybe even deleted database record. So yeah, I think this is a new phase. What just touches the high level surface of that.
So, Ken, do you think there are failures or behaviors that are different and will qualify as vulnerabilities in agentic systems that didn't exist with other forms of AI systems?
Yeah, so basically, like if you look at this other system, like which CVSS measure is more like in terms of the programming the software code. Um, and the agentic AI really cannot really measure the code alone. It
Right.
really should measure in terms of the model behavior, which its impact to the agentic AI system, and also the orchestration, which is also based on the model in most cases, and planning as well. Um, between the agent to agent interaction. And also in terms of identity, like agent can assume certain identity, human identity maybe, but it's not really the good way to do it. Agent really should be like assume the identity which is least privilege, task specific, not permanent. So we kind of have a research paper we published from the Cloud Security Alliance that also in the archive um, on like the agent identity should really be uh, for a specific task for specific duration. And in the multiple agent system, you do need the real-time policy enforcement and to check. So the current, if you look at this OAuth or SIMO, it's really good in non-agentic AI systems, but it will break down in agentic AI system because if you have a static scope based, if you do OAuth kind of authorization, you have a scope defined in the deployment time, and then that scope is coarse-grained. You have access or you of the whole scope, and then the agent really should be example like if it's the scope is for HR database, um, then if you just look at the resume, you for this particular task is to recommend some of potential candidate, and this agent should only have access to the resume database, not to salary database. But if it's assume human identity from certain scope for certain database, that had the read access to everything, right? So it's
Mm,
too much privilege. And
right.
all this currently there is attribute-based access control. You can tag the data, uh, right? But it's not like given. You have to do a lot of kind of plumbing for that. So the idea is we have to first define what is the agent identity, who own it, and what's the life cycle of the identity, and how it is used in agentic AI system. So this is just some example.
Yeah, I think that brings up a very related and complex issue, right? Which is management of these agents.
Mhm.
If we look at how we do identity management for human personnel right now, um, the actual practice of doing that is very different from conceptual, right? When you get a new hire, for example, you ask for roles that mimic existing ones, and you're trying to there is a level of detail that can become debilitating if it's you know, if you look at all the different roles that somebody can have, so you try to um, corral and manage it by relating it to something that already exists, for example. The point I want to highlight is, when we are talking about agents and we're talking about a whole lot of agent deployment to do that life cycle management and to do it specifically to a role, now that adds another level of high complexity. So do you have any thoughts on how companies can manage agents in their
Yes,
environment, right,
right,
at this
right.
level of detail?
Yeah, yeah. This I think the full framework is very important. I think the NIST framework. I think you also have the framework. That is like you have to have the framework. Like so, NIST AI IMF. I think it's also your framework. People really should looking into it. And then when you build the agent system, the first thing you need to do early is a shift to left mentality is to do the threat modeling. So we have the Maestro. I think Maestro is really important framework to use in addition to Strata or Pasta. You do need to leverage this going to each layer. Total is 7-layer reference architecture. Go to each layer and trying to see what kind of threat it could be and what kind of threat could also coming because of cross-layer uh, effect, meaning that this particular vulnerability in one layer, but its effect is not exhibited in that level, but in
Mhm.
another level or in another layer. And so that's important. Then you have basically have to red teaming it. We have Agent AI red teaming guide recently published. It's Cloud Security Alliance with OWASP, but it's joint effort. So it's so people certainly really like it. we have lots of follow-up and engagement for that. Uh, because if you build it, you just threat model it and say, okay, this is a threat. You don't actually threat model it, right? That's is really doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, threat model it, and then you have to have a check and say, okay, wait, actually you have to red teaming early, not like after your system is built. And also you have to red teaming often, right? So this is really important in terms of uh, the whole thing. And then how you measure it, like that's what the AI VSS, that's the WASP project that I just mentioned. You measure all this risk, and then you know that what you actually need fix first after you red teaming, or after you mapping the threat using my threat modeling framework. Yeah, I think this is the correct way to approach it. You have the guiding principle from NIST AI IMF, your framework, Pamela, your company has done
Yes,
really
AI
good
tips.
reference, right? And then you basically nail down each step, threat modeling, red teaming, measure. I think at least this is bare minimum you have to do. That's what I suggest, right? Then you can
Right.
do more if you like, but this is a minimum you can do. Yeah.
Okay, great. I think definitely. So you made some really key points, Ken, like to highlight them again. Between taking, the approach that you have with Maestro for doing that threat modeling, and that Maestro, of course, I think is brilliant because it is going above those static threat modeling frameworks like PASTA or Stride that we know, right? So it really taking a look at how Maestro is taking a look at the reference architecture of the agentic deployment, which is key to ascertaining and assessing the risks, right? That is one very, very big part of this. So thank you. And the other, as you mentioned, and I agree about red teaming. To have a red teaming approach, which is strategic, right? Not as, and to your point, not after it's built, not midway, but as you are rolling out and defining your agentic AI deployment, what does it look like? What is the function? What is the objective? And to create this, the threat model as well as the threat identification through red teaming strategically at different points of that development and implementation of that is going to play a very big role in not only knowing what your risks are and how you mitigate them, but also on a continuous basis, which is also another point that I'd like to add, which is extremely critical because as these systems are dynamic, these are not static systems either. So we really cannot have that old way of approaching and identifying risks and mitigating them. We will have to realign our mindset, our approach, and have a the right approach as well as the right frequency of not even auditing, but ensuring that we are on track and we are identifying the risks as they may develop that we have not heard of. For case in point, I'll give you one example to the audience, which is around collusion and where agents can actually be deceptive to the humans that are we are as we're deploying them as to what we want them to do and how they are um, providing that kind of a deceptive response where you think they're doing what you have asked them to do and they may not be. So there are, in other words, going to be evolving threats that really these static systems, it's static threat models and static ways of approaching risk is not going to work. So we have to be cognizant of the fact that agentic AI is not is not a mindless bot that's out there, right? These, as I started out by saying, they are learning from their context, they're adapting to their context, they're adapting to the environment as well as the instruction sets, as well as to the human as a collaborator, if you want to look at that, to have the oversight of what they're doing and how they're doing, it does require a very, very focused approach on creating that right strategy and creating that right risk-based approach. Ken, would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I think that's summarized very well. Thank you, yeah, Pamela.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I look forward to further conversations and to the audience if they want to connect with you. Um, do you have a preferred way of how
Yeah,
to?
so I think LinkedIn is good. I have a Substack, like I recently focus on that. I publish regularly on my Substack. I
Okay.
can send you the link. Yeah, so LinkedIn and a Substack. That's what I voice my opinion.
Okay. All right. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to many more.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Pamela. Yeah, really good.